Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched the third episode of Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn 2, and there will be spoilers ahead. We open up the episode on the Brawn tribe, and we see that Zen is not very happy with the food variation.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's thinking about, all right, we can make it in kind of like oatmeal. We can make it into like little pancakes. He's just trying to make it, make them look different. Maybe you'll feel differently when you're eating the rice and beans.
Beans and rice and beans.
Yeah.
And we could have beans.
I thought that was fun.
We could have rice.
I have to say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's kind of interesting because on the U.S. version, now they're not even getting rice or beans. So they're actually lucky to be getting anything at all.
I believe they should. I don't agree with how the American or U.S. survivors acting. But I have to say, right off the bat, these 3 episodes have been just excellent. I'm so excited that they're back, Australian Survivors back. I just think they do such a wonderful job.
I agree. It's been a great show.
Yep.
We go over to the Brains tribe, and we see that Max is still upset about the hat. It's obviously just revealed that Kent burnt his hat in the fire, and he is pretty against Kent. He thinks that Kent should be the next one to go home.
Yep. And then they do a small thing with Logan. It's nice to see her featured.
Yeah, so we find out that her husband is a big-time sports player, and so she talked about the social structure of being married to someone of that stature. So it was interesting to see how she related her social life to the game.
She says she's a socially smart person.
Well,
so I guess she understands how to get along with people.
Right. It's important in Survivor and in life. We see the Coven meet the Girls' Alliance, and they decide that they want Kent out. They have had enough of him.
Right. And do you see they were taking breaths, deep breaths?
Yeah, they had a nice little relaxation session together. And then meanwhile, we hear a little bit more about AJ. He thinks that he is in control, and he wants to put some ideas into people's head. He starts out by going to Kaylin and saying we need to get the girls into the minority. They have too much control. They're doing too many strategy chats. And he's trying to plant the seeds for a woman to go home at the next tribal council.
I thought it was interesting in learning more about his life, about being a poker player, and how he said that he does things differently, that he talks to people so he can learn more about them.
Right, when he's playing poker instead of just sitting there staring at everybody, which seems like what it looks like when people play poker.
Sure.
He's the guy who's sitting there talking to everybody. I just find it interesting that, and I know that doesn't really have much to do with this, but you can be a professional poker player, and that can be your profession.
Well, it sounds like he's making a lot of money.
Right.
So good for him.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, $1 million buy-in he was talking about. That's wild to put $1 million on the line just at the beginning of the game.
Right.
And he's only playing for $500,000 out here.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's worth it, right? You can go to a casino.
The experience.
Right.
Yes. Then we head over to the reward challenge. So this challenge is 4 loaded fries. It looks like a pretty good spread that they've got going for them. And it's going to be a 1-to-1 physical challenge, and the winner needs 5 points to win.
I think that's Leah's favorite, right? The one-on-one.
I hate these. I absolutely hate this challenge.
Well, it was a little bit better that they had the net in the water, so you're not pulling someone underwater. You're right.
That's
through the
true.
mud.
But there was still that big barrier in the middle that you could hit your head on or whatever, like it just seems a little barbaric.
And to me, this seems so physical, and to me, the loaded fries didn't look so great. But maybe it's differently when you're on Survivor.
When you're starving.
I've only had rice and beans for the last couple days.
Yeah.
You may feel differently.
Yeah, right.
Well, it also turns out there's more to the loaded.
Right. It looked like they had a lot.
Right.
Yeah, they had quite a bit of food. So we had several pair-ups. We had 5 total pair-ups, and every single time, Brawn won.
Yes.
It was just unbelievable every time.
And they won
second
quickly.
Right. I don't even think Brains got to the other side of the playing field.
They never did.
The second round, Rich tripped on his way off the starting net, and Ben just ran right past him. I don't think they've been touched.
No, and that was the battle of the beefcakes. Ben said.
Not much of a battle.
And there wasn't, yeah. And then we saw Kalen slip too. He was at least able to fight, but I was wondering what was going on Brains, why everyone was slipping. What was going on the platform?
I don't know. Just nervous about getting beat up by a brawny person.
Well, did you see Noonan? She was doing, like, making sure she wasn't going to slip, it looked like, when it was her turn versus Karen.
Or was she just joking around? Was she just trying to dance up there to put a little levity into the...
I don't know. She did look nervous to me.
Yeah, because it was for the win, and she said this is her favorite food, so it was high stakes. But
she won.
I was happy for her that she was able to be the one to bring home the win, especially given her background with her family, always kind of making her not feel quite as important. I thought this was a good moment for her to bring home the win.
Yeah, she completed the blowout. It was unbelievable how Brawn did so well.
Yeah, I thought for sure Brains were going to get at least 1 point somewhere, but it really wasn't even that close.
No.
Right.
I was thinking the strategy for this is that you have to just run as fast as you possibly can to the other side, because I felt like the Brains were always on the defense and trying to stop the person from getting to their flag. But what's it going to do? Once you reach the halfway point, you're not going to be able to drag them back to their flag.
No.
Well, I was wondering, can't you try to see where they're going and go the opposite way? But, we're not in the situation, so who knows?
I'm sure it's very difficult to maneuver on that bouncy, the other person's bouncing on it. It's in the water, right? Then you got to get over the halfway point and then continue on and then jump up on the stage or whatever it is to get.
Well, the Brawn team seemed to figure it out.
Whoever their coach is, they had a good plan and they succeeded.
And they had a fantastic time eating their loaded fries. And we saw a pretty interesting thing happen. Polly pulled out a napkin, and there was a map on it.
Yes.
So he suspected correctly that it was the map to some sort of reward. We heard him talk a little bit about his background. He's a paramedic. So he said that he's, using some tactics that he's not known for in his regular life out here on Survivor. So he seems like an exciting person to watch play. And he's off to a great start. He pretends like he's going to go hang up his shirt, and he sneaks off, and he comes back with an idol.
Right.
It was very fast how he was able to find it.
Well, at first, when he pulled out the napkin, I thought he was going to show everybody.
I know.
The woman next to him, right now I can't remember who it is, he had it like open. I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to see it for sure. What is he going to do?
And then everyone's going to start running.
Right.
Right.
But he kept it to himself and no one saw it.
That's good. But he was gone for quite a while. But he goes there and starts looking around the bottom, and then he has to climb up, 6 or 8 feet into the tree to get the idol. I'm like, wow, they didn't make it easy.
No, not at all.
But he did it quite quickly. They were showing us back on the tribe. They're doing their breath underwater challenge. No one notices that he's gone, but one person did notice that he was gone.
Right.
Noonan is really playing the game.
She is.
She and PD were looking. They're picking up everything. She's like, I know there's a clue here somewhere. And she had a great observation. She just went right up to Polly and said, you went for a walk. Was that because you found a clue?
You've been gone a while. Yeah.
And then he told her. He did.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of backed him into a corner, and then he was like, oh, okay, I found it.
But he didn't go all the way. He told her that he has not found the idol yet, so he kept something to himself.
I'm wondering if that's going to be beneficial for him, though, because she knows that he has a clue, and when he shows her the clue and they both go searching later on and he can't find it, what's going to happen?
She's going to say, this is crazy that it's not here. It must be here, or you have it. That's what's going to happen. And then he's going to be caught in the lie, and it's going to spiral out of control.
Or maybe he has it all figured out, or he will figure it out. We'll have to wait and see. That's the fun thing about each episode. What's going to happen?
Yes. So he either should have said, I was off wandering around and I got sick or something, or he should have said, yes, I have the idol. Please don't say anything.
Well,
yeah,
that's what I think.
You never know how you're going to how people are going to react.
I know, just my analysis.
Mm-hmm. Either way, it looks like Paulie is set up for a great game, and so is Noonan. She's very on top of things.
Right.
Yeah, she is.
Noonan knows what's going on. Absolutely.
And then they talk about Zen's finger swelling up.
It's puffing
so
up,
he's really,
blowing up.
Yeah, really talking about that, so it must hurt quite a bit.
He wasn't worried. Everyone else seemed worried.
Yeah.
And then we head into the immunity challenge, and it's off to a bad start.
Yes.
Zen walks in late with his hand all bandaged up, and he shares the terrible news that he spoke with the medics, and they found a fracture in his finger, and he has to be pulled from the game.
I was devastated. We've only watched this, this is the third episode? I'm like, no! Because I feel that he was so into this game, so excited to be here. And I just think it's too bad that such a powerful player and a happy, very positive player is pulled.
Right. It's too bad it wasn't somebody who was uncomfortable or not happy being there.
Right.
And then he's perfectly fine, but just played extra hard and then ends up getting hurt and has to go home.
Well, that's why they should take out that challenge anyway. Now that's how he hurt his hand.
Now, what's he going to think every time he eats fries, right?
Yeah. So it's too bad.
JLP, you heard it here first. Get rid of the physical challenges.
Please. And then he said that this is painful and heartbreaking. And it was very nice because his teammates said very positive things about him. They were very upset. And also the Brawn people were very upset. Some of the women were crying. I mean,
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
So, he's a player, an opponent, but, you still, good luck. Sorry that's happening kind of thing.
Because
that's very
it's
nice.
out of your control. Like Noonan said, there's nothing you could do. It just happened.
Right.
So, too bad.
They could all recognize that no one wants to leave at this point in the game.
Sure.
And the word stoic kept coming up.
Yes, stoic.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. It seemed like Zen really didn't want to let his emotions get to him, but I think there would have been no shame in being upset and emotional at such a horrible point in the game, because that's, I think, everyone's worst nightmare is to get outvoted first, and probably the next worst thing to happen is to be pulled when it's not your time to go yet.
Right.
And it looked like he had a lot of potential.
Illness or injury, yes. That's too bad, because he worked hard to get there.
Right.
Yeah. But they had a very nice exit for him, I thought. It was nice to see everyone say such positive things. And then it's time to get to the challenge. Unfortunately, the game just keeps moving.
Right.
Whoever's there.
They could have used them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a pretty intense challenge. You climb up the A-frame. Everyone has to get up and slide back down. Then you collect the bamboo. You tie it up into a really long pole to knock the vase over, and then you have to shoot the tiles down. So there's a lot going on this game, and it's fast. And they're pretty neck and neck, as Jonathan would say, throughout most of the game. It's really close.
I thought it was interesting when they were building the long poles. Allie saying, don't do the double knots. She's trying to tell everyone how to do it. And Rich says, he's not listening at all. And I even think he said to somebody, don't listen, just do do the double knots.
Right, don't pay attention or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that was too bad. And they were having problems because of that.
But it is tricky. They have to tie those things together and then slide it into almost like a rain gutter at the edge of your house or something, and then the two pieces don't line up. The two poles aren't perfectly lined up. They're overlapping. It's just a difficult thing.
Oh, yeah, the whole challenge was challenging. But what about the ending? It was so exciting, wasn't it?
When they finally got to breaking the tiles, that was unbelievable.
Ben is just excellent at every physical challenge. He always seems to be able to pull it out at the end. He was hitting almost every single tile.
Yes.
Right.
Kent did very well for the Brains. And it was very, very close. And at the end, the Brawns won.
Wow.
Their second immunity win in a row.
But it was tied at 5. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yes.
How it was going back and forth and then actually tied it up.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So congratulations to Brawn. Another night of no tribal council. So they are doing quite well. They got the reward and now immunity this episode. So even though they're upset that Zen had to leave, they are going back. And I think it's... as I was watching, I think I was rooting for Brawn to win this immunity challenge because they had just lost Zen, and I thought that would be kind of really too bad for them to have to go to tribal right after losing someone like this.
2 in one day.
Right. So we go back to the Brains tribe, and they are going back to tribal council for the second time in a row. Kent says the plan has not changed, and he's still on Miles, and he doesn't go to sleep, but he pretty much has the same attitude of that's the end of it, and there's no further conversation.
Right. I did not like how he spoke to Miles, telling Miles to calm down, meditate. I mean, it was just very nasty.
A bully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was pretending to be helpful, but it was not in a very kind-hearted way. It did not come off that way.
All right.
The girls are not on board with Miles. They are pretty set on getting Kent out. They had talked about it last time, and that's the plan going forward.
And AJ just thinks it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I have to agree with him. AJ said that Kent's basically a shield because he's always self-imploding. And it does seem no one likes Kent. And we've seen this over and over again in multiple seasons where there's always someone who just doesn't really get along with the rest of the group, and you just kind of string them along, and they're an easy vote when the time comes. You can use them as a number when you need them and get them out later on. That seems to be what AJ is thinking.
Right. Although I have to say, sometimes it backfires when you merge, and then that person who isn't liked somehow goes and becomes likable to the other team, and is kind of like, switches sides.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to be careful, but it is a possibility to keep him in the game, and that's what AJ's thinking.
But I was interested, so he goes to Allie, who he knows is friends with Logan, and says he wants Logan out. I'm like, what? Why would you go to Allie? It doesn't seem to make sense.
I was trying to calculate the numbers there. So he said that he wants to get Logan out. So we see him talk to Miles. We see him talk to, he talked to Max at the same time that he talked to Allie.
Oh, yeah, we should back up. Because he didn't tell Allie at first. He said he needs to talk to her about someone. And Allie thought it was going to be Rich, and she told Logan, remember?
Yes.
It was crazy how AJ, planted this seed of, there's someone that I want to get out, and I think you're going to get them out. Are you going to make a big move? And she said, yeah, I'll make the move. But he wouldn't tell her who it was until later. And it didn't look like, they were having a conversation anyway, just whisper the name.
Correct.
Thought it was very odd that he wouldn't share, and it ended up really kind of exploding in his face because he wouldn't just say the name. So Allie goes then straight to Logan and says they're going after him.
Right, it's her buddy.
So first she goes to Logan and says, I think we're getting Rich tonight. And then Logan and Laura are talking, and they say, I don't know if we should go with Rich. And meanwhile, no one's even voting Rich. This is all just a hypothetical plan that no one has the numbers for. No one's discussed it, but they're treating this as a very real possibility and saying, well, should we get Rich now? Is it time? Do we go after Kent? And then finally AJ comes clean and says that it was Logan, and then that blows up, and now Logan wants AJ out, and now they're saying, do we get AJ now? Do we go with Kent? It was wild.
Yes. Another very interesting coming up to Tribal.
Yeah, we're right on the edge of dusk, and everyone doesn't know what they're going to do.
Right, and you're watching it, you're like, I'm not sure who's going home, which is great.
Idea.
Right? That's what makes it exciting.
Right.
So we get to Tribal, and Miles said that he is trying not to make any waves in the group. He's just kind of going with the flow, an easy vote. And so we can really see that he's taken the advice from last night's episode about how he was playing too hard, and he is being very clear to his tribe that he is not trying to scheme. He just wants to be a number. So I think he's playing a great game so far.
See,
I agree.
I think he's going to stick around a lot longer than I feared.
Well, that's your pick.
I know. I'm happy about that.
Okay,
I'm glad because I felt like he came close. The last time they were at Tribal, right?
It looks like he does well in the challenges also, so I think he's going to be okay.
So he seems to be not too concerned, and it sounds like there's a lot of discussion about, do you know who's going home? Are you worried? Do you know who's aligned? And it kept flipping back and forth between Logan and AJ. And they're saying things, and they're like, I'm thinking in my head, does he know that she knows that he was saying her name? And they're really trying to twist the minds here on this tribal council with these shots. So who do you guys think they should have gone for, AJ or Kent?
I don't think AJ. Kent, I think maybe even Rich. I think Rich, from what they show, I would want to get rid of him.
So is Rich annoying, or is he just annoying to one or two people?
I don't know.
Right.
They say Rich is very annoying to everyone.
Okay. I think Kent was annoying and so proud of himself, like I'm in charge, I'm the president, I know everything, I'm the leader kind of thing, and there's no question about it. We're all going to vote for Miles, right? And then that probably just got tiring. But on the other hand, he did knock out 5 of those tiles or 4 of those tiles in a row, right? He's pretty healthy and strong. And they did get rid of a healthy, strong person.
Sure, and who is dedicated. Rich is seems to play a lot of games too. But one thing that Kent didn't do, I didn't see him make any connections with people.
Because he thought he was in charge.
Right.
And everybody's under him.
And Rich seems to have social connections, so that's probably what saved him. Well, we know Laura is against anyone.
Well, and I think Rich is just there to socialize, right?
Right.
I mean, he said, these are my peeps, right?
Right, yeah.
You know? And so he's there to have fun, I feel like. Whereas Rich is there to show these people who's in control.
Kent, yeah.
Kent.
Yeah, I think, Kent, you're right. He didn't really have those social connections. And I wonder if he thought he had made social connections or if he thought everyone would just gravitate to him. And I wonder why they thought that. Maybe because he's the oldest, maybe because he's successful in the real world. It was kind of hard to say, but he really felt that everyone was going with his path. I think he was really blindsided tonight.
Well, maybe part of his job, since probably people don't say no to him very often in real life, and maybe he just thought that would go over in Survivor. But Survivor is a whole different game. It doesn't seem to matter what you do in real life. It's what you're doing right now in Survivor.
Yeah.
Everyone's on a kind of level play in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they did not take a shot at AJ tonight because he's one of their strongest players on the Brains tribe, and that would have really been detrimental to lose him at this point when they just lost 2 immunity challenges in a row. I think taking out a strong player is not a good idea. And Kent really pulled through with the final slingshots. I mean, he didn't get the challenge, but he was close.
Right.
Closer than anyone else. So yes. I wonder if that was the right choice physically.
Especially when the Brawns are doing so well physically, they're winning.
And the challenges seem to be not so many puzzles and a lot more physical. Everything seems to be very physical. I guess that's what you expect in Survivor, though.
Yeah, at this stage. Well, when AJ was talking about which girl he was going to go after, he mentioned Logan because she was part of the Girls Alliance. She's also part of the VB Alliance between Rich, Laura, and Logan. And to me, it seemed like Laura was the most natural person to go after because she's not, she sat out in the challenge today. She doesn't seem to be as physically inclined as some of the other Brains. And she is really leading this Girls Alliance and in the VB Alliance. Yes. So I like Laura a lot. I'm glad she didn't go home. But that, to me, would have been the most natural pick for AJ. And I wonder why he went with Logan over Laura. Maybe he just didn't realize that Laura was really the ringleader in the all-women alliance.
Well, pretty much everything you said, AJ said about Logan. She's very good socially. Everyone likes her. And yeah, maybe he doesn't see Laura. Maybe Laura's too far behind the scenes, but Logan's sees Logan doing everything right in front of him.
Yeah, so good for Laura for staying hidden.
Yes,
and being the secret puppet master.
Right. Yeah, the ringleader.
But yeah, well, they ended up going to the vote. Kent went home. It was 3 votes for Miles from Kent, Kaylin, and Rich, and everyone else voted for Kent. Kent seemed quite surprised.
Yes, he did. So
he did not see it coming.
Then when he said goodbye, he said he didn't care what his legacy was.
He was pretty upset, I think, to be voted out. Yeah. So that was too bad to see that it's his lifelong dream and it didn't come true. But maybe this is a point of reflection.
He got to play.
Yeah, he might come back. Who knows? You never know.
Right.
They probably will.
He could be back in July, right?
Might be, yeah.
That's true. I never thought about that.
The world.
Yeah. Well, I would just like to say that we're so excited to be back talking about Australian Survivor, but we really would like to hear from everybody. So please, let us know what you're thinking.
send us an email. Yeah, that'd be great.
ATAustralianSurvivor@gmail.com. And you can vote over in our polls on Instagram at ATASurvivor. We also have been posting TikToks at ATASurvivor, where you can definitely leave us a comment on our TikTok, vote in the polls. The latest poll, let me check the most up-to-date stats. We asked if you were on Survivor and it was night 1, what would you burn? Would you burn socks or a hat? And it looks like with 60% saying socks, that is the winner.
Oh, so interesting.
People would rather take away someone else's socks than their hat. I guess it would be more uncomfortable to go do a challenge without socks than without a hat.
Now, I remember
the hat you can make.
I remember last year we had some of the players liking our posts or responding. So, hey,
that would be
last year, come on back and let us know.
If any listeners have played Survivor or are currently playing, let us know. I know they can't say too much while the show is airing, but we'd love to hear from you guys.
Hey, on a side note, I think I would rather have my hat burned than my socks burned, because if it starts to get cold and rainy...
You want those socks.
Yeah, and just put on wet shoes, like, but, anyway, that's what I was thinking.
Well, you should have voted in the Instagram poll.
How do you know I didn't?
Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.